Okay, Peter, so I just wanted to talk about Rumble Live 2, which we had on Saturday. It was a cracking show. It was a real step up in production values for us, and I was really excited about it. Unfortunately, we couldn't have the crowds as we discussed before. We were hoping to have a crowd for this one, but we didn't have that. We just had the live behind closed doors show. But, it was absolutely fantastic. We're kind of getting used to this format now. Some of the fighters were actually saying to me afterwards that they preferred it. There's just because we just run straight through. There's no breaks. We're just focused on the fighters. There's no crowds to get through. You just get in there and, as they say, just do the business and get out. But hopefully the viewers at home enjoyed it, and we've got great viewing figures again, so really excited about that. But like I said, production values are right up there. But I just wanted to really talk about the show and how it went. So first off, we had Mike Gold against Luke Batten. Good fight. Mike's a bit of a seasoned campaigner. Luke was only coming into his second fight. Like I say, came to us from a rugby background, used to play for London Irish, big strong guy, and he did work well behind the jab, and Mike had to just get inside and throw those big hooks at him. The styles didn't quite gel as we'd hoped. But it was an interesting fight. It ended in a draw, so I think unfinished business there. Luke's got a lot to go away and work on and improve on. So that was what kicked our show off. After that we had Joe Woods against Noel Harris, two novices coming in their first fight, but it was hard to believe that it was their first fight. The body work that those guys were putting in was amazing. It was incredible to see them both go to the body so heavily. It was a very competitive match, swaying backwards and forwards. The pace was relentless, and in the end, Noel nicked it. I think it was in the last round that the body attacks that Noel had put in on Joe really started to play, and Joe just wilted slightly and let Noel sort of get ahead of him in the last round. But a great learning fight for both of them. Joe's very young. And he will definitely come again and learn loads from that. I mean, that was fantastic. He's been boxing here for a few years, in the junior classes. And, as he said it afterwards, he can't believe how much he learned, how much, in putting that together, how different it was in there, but how much he'll pick up. And Noel, put on a great display, coming over from the MMA background. I think he's got the taste for boxing now. So, again, we're going to see him again. And then we had John Stoffer. John Stoffer, was boxing in a late replacement with Ray Clement. Now, Ray was a very experienced guy. Came to us, this was Ray's 12th fight, and he had a good winning record, a really strong guy, at 44, in incredible shape. John at 22, exactly half the age, coming in for his first fight, but he had impressed us in the gym, and his coach said to me, I want to match John hard. I want him to have a real test. There's no point, just getting him a run out with the level of sparring and how he's performing in the gym. And I think he's going to cope with the pressure of the fight. So it was set for 4-2s, and it was a real humdinger. And John did exactly what he did in the gym. He didn't fold under the pressure of the fight. He brought it to Ray. Again, a relentless body attack, from both guys. But John managed to set the pace, make Ray fight at his pace. Kept pressing, and I think won every round. Every round was very competitive, but I thought he won every round. So a clear decision for John in that fight. So a real great start to his career. We're going to see more of him, and he'll be out on the next Rumble. And I'm going to announce the date of that at the end of this review. But but Ray did really well. He took the fight at 24 hours notice. He was fit because he'd fought only a few weeks before, and he was in training. But he made the fight very competitive. But John just too young, too strong, and too relentless. And his skills held up under the pressure of the fight. But as he said in his post-fight interview, he couldn't believe how tired he was. I tried to explain into this. Sparring is not fighting. You never, until you actually get in there, the intensity is something that you have to you can only understand by being in there. And he did understand it by being in there. So it's a real sort of step up for him. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how he improves in the gym and how he runs out next time. Then we had what I thought was going to be fight of the night. This was a fight for the South Moreton Boxing Club light heavyweight title, and it was Joe Howard against another late replacement, but another really fit, strong guy, Luke Fertney. And that fight looked like it was absolutely going to go on fire. Luke had that really nice, both of these guys having upwards of 30 fights each. And Luke had that lovely style, that amateur style, used to box in the army, looked very fast on his feet, low left hand, bouncing in and out. And Joe was much more of that sort of, weaving in, looking for the uppercut style. It was starting to hot up, and there was a clash of heads, and Joe was cut over the right eye. And it was a nasty cut. The referee let it go on for, maybe 20 seconds, then called Joe over, had a look at it and said, no, you can't carry on with that cut. Joe was understandably, hasn't been out since 2019, absolutely gutted, was begging to continue, but it's absolutely no way with that cut. So he had to go off and see the medics. So it was a bit disappointing for both guys, but, it's something they'll get on again. It's better to live and fight another day. So it was, it was a great fight potentially, and it will be a great fight in time to come. Next fight up was Grant Barber. against Joe's brother Ben Howard, and that was a good fight. Different styles, but they gelled very well. Grant, the taller, rangier fighter, was looking to sort of stick and move, throwing short little left hooks, short right hands, and then get out and move. And Ben, as the shorter guy, was looking to weave in, get under that jab and come in with the big booming hooks over the top. And that was the way it played out. And oddly enough, I thought at the start of the rounds, Grant was winning. Grant came out and was flicking out these quick jabs, quick hooks, dropping the right hand, moving, sliding off at an angle, and it was working very well. But then Ben would catch up with him. He couldn't kind of sustain that quick fire movement, and Ben would catch up, and Ben would win the end of the round. So the styles gelled well, and it ended in a draw. So another bit of unfinished business there, which is probably what I'm going to call the next show, because there was so much in this show that needs to be resolved in another show. So I think Live Rumble 3 is going to be unfinished business. Then we came to what turned into fight of the night. Everybody was expecting it to be great, and it was Rich Dodson against George Pickett for the South Moreton Boxing Club cruiserweight title. And this really lived up to every expectation. Rich is a bit of a prodigy. He's coming through. He hasn't had many fights, but he's won them all. He looks great whenever he steps up. George is the old seasoned campaigner, and they just went into the trenches right from the start. There was lots of body work. They were working away at each other, digging in those heavy shots, hooks to the body, hooks over the top, and it just became a war of attrition. They were pushing in and pushing in and pushing, and in the end, I do believe it was George's experience that saw him through. They were both kind of breathing very heavy, even after the first round. But I just think George kept pushing and kept pushing. And he kept, most importantly, the snap in his shots in the later round. When Rich was tired, his shots lacked a bit of authority, but George's kept, even though he was exhausted, he was leaning in on Rich, but he just kept throwing those heavy bombs to the body and head, and every punch looked like it was going to do some damage. So it was a real war. They both enjoyed it. They were both smiling at each other at times throughout. And Rich, as is his way, was sort of shaking those shots off from George and smiling at him and beckoning him in. And so they just went to war. It was a war of attrition. They were in the trenches for 5 rounds. And George came out, deservedly victorious. It was narrow, but George was the winner. So that was great to see, and a great atmosphere with both guys afterwards. Rich saying he wants to do it again, because he would have learned a lot. He'd never been that distance. He would have learned a lot in there, and he's a natural competitor. So we'll see where that fight goes. Then we came to our last fight of the evening, Bobby Collard against Leah Murphy. Like I say, a bit of a grudge match. There'd been something, between the two. And they came out. Murphy had the longer range, and I thought the slightly faster hands. And he had this big. He was always trying to wing in this big right hand. Was setting up this big booming right hand that he whipped over very quickly. The thing was, he did that very well in the first round. He didn't quite catch Bobby. Bobby seemed to suss that out and think, right, this is what the guy's trying to do. Is he's trying to land that big bomb on me, off that jab. He started moving away from the right hand, and getting in some cleaner work himself. It was very even, I thought, and they were both a bit wary of each other. I thought personally it was very even, very good fight after 4 rounds. I did say on the commentary, I think it's all down to the last round. It's all down to, who really brings it in the last round. I think he's going to catch fire in the last round. And then I thought really that Bobby Collard stole the last round. I thought he had the cleaner work. Oddly enough, he kept nipping in, nicking clean shots and getting out. Very obvious clean work in the last round. So I gave it to Bobby, and the judges gave it to Bobby on a very, very close fight, but on that last round. So it was a great fight to end on. I thought all round it was a very entertaining evening. For us, it was fantastic to step up in those production values. With our partners in Seconds Out and the KO Cup, they really sort of, brought that to the party. They brought, we had multiple camera angles, we had different things. The only thing we didn't have was a slow motion replays, but we'll be working on that. So, it was a great step up. We got great viewing figures. Really enjoyed the show. I think it gives us a lot to build on. It gives us a core of really good fighters, like John Stoffer, like Joe Howard, like Ben Howard, like George Pickett, that are going to come again next time. We can get them out again. So, and so it's going to be Live Rumble 3, and it's going to be another step up. So this is the big challenge, and we're going to announce now the date. We're going to do that. We're going to do it on October the 16th. I'm really excited about that. It's October the 16th. I know I said this last time, but I'm pretty sure we'll have live crowds in here. So we're going to pack in hundreds of people in here. We're going to have the same, multiple camera angles, interviews with the fighters, all that sort of thing. The same platform, going out live over the internet, live and free, as it's always been. But with the atmosphere of that live crowd, I absolutely can't wait. See, personally, for me, Rocky 3 was the one. I really enjoyed that. I love Rocky 1 and 2. I love all the Rockies, but Rocky 3 really stands out. I know it's for Mr. T. We haven't got Mr. T, but we have got Live Rumble 3. And I think it's going to be another big step up in class, another big step up in quality. It's going to be a different level of show. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. We've learned our lessons. The fighters have learned their lessons, and we're going to come back bigger and better on October the 16th. I can't wait. Please tune in. It's going to be marvellous.